Morning and welcome to episode 8 of OverDrive. I'm Chris Overby, and at the end of this video I'm going to ask you for a personal favor that's important to me, but I'm just going to jump right into it. So every morning around 5:45 we get the girls up and start getting them ready for daycare. I take them downstairs and I get to watch about an hour of kids television programming. We have a Roku device on our TV downstairs with Netflix and Amazon, Hulu and all that, and so my oldest daughter Anna Kate chooses what she wants to watch. Sometimes it's Dora the Explorer, sometimes it's Barney, Wheels on the Bus, but a lot of times it's Curious George. And Curious George, you won't believe this, but I promise you it's true. Yesterday morning we watched Curious George, and there's always a lesson. The lesson can be about patience or kindness or avoiding temptation. Yesterday morning's lesson was about small business marketing and calculating return on investment and attribution analytics. You think I'm joking? You think that's a stretch or an analogy, a parable? I'm not kidding. That's exactly what the story was meant to be about. So here's what happens. So Curious George is in a department store, and he goes up to a candy counter and he meets the lady who runs the candy counter, and it turns out she's the owner. She leases the space from the department store. She's a small business proprietor that just opened up, and she's pretty broke, doesn't have a lot of money, and doesn't have any customers. Sound familiar, right? Okay. So George befriends her, and she trusts him because, you know, he's a monkey, of course. So she says, will you watch the candy counter while I go run an errand for an hour? And George says, yeah, I'd love to. He doesn't speak, so he's like, right? And he jumps behind the counter, and the first customer comes up, and she wants two boxes. She wants 2 boxes of chocolates, and she wants them sorted a certain way and certain math. And, you know, he can't quite understand and figure it out because he's a monkey. So he gets kind of confused, and he's working and he's counting on his fingers. Meanwhile, another guy comes up and says, you know, can you tell me what that one's like? Can you tell me what that one's like? You know, I'm interested in this kind of candy. Well, he's frustrated. So what does George do? You know, George always makes a mistake, and then he learns from his mistakes. Well, he just throws some candy up on the counter and says, here, try these. And well, the guy turns around and yells, free samples, and they are rushed. He gets a crowd of people, and the whole time you kind of see this mob scene of people just gobbling up free candy. They're also, the cash register's ringing. He's ringing people up, and people are buying. And then, you know, the next scene is the proprietor comes back, and she says, well, how do we do, George? She looks at the till and says, you sold 25 pieces of candy? That's the most I've ever sold in an entire day, and you did that in an hour, George. He's a hero. Then she realizes, when she starts looking at inventory, that 100 pieces of candy were given away, and she is really upset, and she tells George her plight. She says, George, the inventory that I sell is the profits that I use to make the candy for the, you know, the future, and you've taken my inventory, and now I don't have enough, you know, enough revenue to make more candy. And so this is her plight as a small business owner, and George is defeated and he feels upset. And I just want you to stop right there and say, if George was her marketing consultant, and this wasn't like an hour, but this was over the course of several months, and he had recommended, you know, some kind of social strategy and maybe a website redesign and any of those things, and this was like a 3-month campaign, and at the end of the 3 months she says, okay, so my sales are up, but my ROI isn't there. What would happen to George as the marketing consultant? He would be fired, right? And you know, I can understand why. Well, this is a nice, neat 15-minute episode that wraps up. You know, the next thing that happens is, the next day, she's kind of down on her luck, and all of a sudden, one after another, customers start coming up and buying lots and lots of candy. Cleans her out, and she has the best day of all time, enough to, of course, make up for all the candy that George gave away, and she's wondering where all this business is coming from. And then they start telling her, well, I'm here because I was told from a friend about all the delicious candy you had. And somebody else says, yeah, I was here yesterday and I got to try some of these candies, and I needed to come back and buy a box. And so, you know, my 2-year-old is learning here, oh, I see. So when you know, make an investment in marketing, there is ultimately, hopefully, a return. And of course, in the episode that's, you know, 15 minutes long, they make it nice and neat and pretty quick. But I want you to consider that issue, which is, when do you get the return? Does the return come the next day, or does the return come a year from now? What things can you determine? You know, how do you attribute what's bringing you that return. And those are big time problems that small business owners face. Almost every conversation I have starts with, okay, so if I put $1,000 a month in, when can I get that back, and what kind of return can I expect? And I don't have snappy answers for that, especially right now in this format. But on my next episode, I am going to address, how do we measure? What things should you be measuring, and what are the variables that go into your ROI? So that'll be on the next episode of OverDrive. And I told you I was going to ask you for a personal favor, and here's what it is. So all of my videos, I have 8 now, are housed on they're loaded to YouTube, and then they're embedded on a video blog at chrisoverby.com. And so most of my traffic funnels through there, and like any good marketer, I've attached Google Analytics to it, and I'm watching. And so what I've found is I have a couple hundred visitors, and about 50% of those are return visitors. So people that are watching these videos are coming back time and time again to watch the videos, which I really appreciate. And I'm not going to turn my nose up at a couple hundred visitors. I think we talked about in another video, if you have any amount of people that are willing to listen to what you have to say, then you should keep talking, right? So that's what I'm going to keep doing. But here's how you can help me. If you're finding me on Facebook, that means you know me, right? If you find these videos interesting, post a link to chrisoverby.com. Tag me in that link. Make a comment. Ask other people that may be interested to watch these videos and to go to chrisoverby.com. If you're finding me on Facebook and you're not following me on Twitter, but you're active on Twitter, start following me on Twitter, CM Overby. And then when you see a video you like, retweet it, and mention me in it, and give me a nice hashtag or something. If you're finding me on LinkedIn and you see a video you like, make a comment, share it, like it. I'm just looking for ways to kind of expand the circle of people that are watching these videos outside of the people that I know personally. I feel like the people that are engaged right now are kind of within my circle, and I'd like to expand that. So if you can help me, I would really appreciate it. If you do that and you post me, post one of these videos, or post chrisoverby.com, tag me in it, make a comment so I can thank you for that. But I really appreciate everybody that's been watching these videos. We just finished kind of the 3rd week, and on Monday we'll tackle ROI and attribution. If you have anything I can help you with right now, email me at coverby@wral.com, WRAL.com, or tweet me at CMOverby. Thanks for watching.